was working in Qatar. I have lots of spare time because there's nothing to do there. My name is Jan Seidl. I'm Brazilian despite Dutch name and German surname. I don't know why my mother does that, but that's it, and that's my full name. I have issues when I go to conference because the organizer always asks me, send me your full name so I can send the tickets, and I say that's my full name, and nobody believes it. But going on, I'm from Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil. It's a beautiful city, if you look from this side, otherwise it's not so good. I've been speaking in several conferences, some around Europe. I've co-authored the book in Brazil, it's the first one in the subject in Brazilian Portuguese. I'm holder of several certifications, like my birth certificate, yellow fever vaccination card, and I'm also a local pub contest winner of speed tequila shots, which is better than system proving infosec knowledge. I'm also a Unix PST freak. I love coding tools in Python and C. I'm a lousy guitar player. I try a lot, but I don't have the talent. I'm highly coffee dependent, as everyone. I don't like social networks or printers. And I used to say that I'm selectively social, not antisocial. There's a margin between that. What gave me the will to code that is that I was getting those same questions over and over. So the question one, it was some clients, they will tell me, I want to understand our show over management, how vulnerable we are. What would happen and how, and I don't have any backup or spare equipment, test planned, and I want to set any possible downtime.
You can't upset the whole harmony of the place.
Harmony? What harmony?
Oh, look, I know that the place looks like a bit of a mess, but it's actually a very delicate ecosystem. Everything is connected. It's like the rainforest. You change one thing, even the tiniest bit, and the whole rainforest dies. You don't want the rainforest to die, do you?
No, I really don't want the rainforest to die.
Well, that's what will happen if you open the red door.
So this is basically the response of the clients when I told him, well, so can I test in your production plant? Yeah, it's pretty acceptable. I will do the same. I've also taught several students in my class in Brazil, and they always told me, I'm a student or I'm a worker, and I want to learn ICS security. So what do you suggest me to do? Which software can I use? Is there any simulator? So first thing I told them, why don't you buy a turnkey testbed? There are several vendors which provide this. So we knew that Siemens had one, and one of my clients said, yeah, in fact, we contact them, and they said they don't sell it, and they don't even build them for us. We said that we'll pay anything, but they even send us a quote. There's another vendor that you can get to go to Brazil, but it just costs motherloads of cash. Some students or university groups cannot afford it. So why not building your own test bed? I was talking with Michael Tucker yesterday, and he said, well, I just go to eBay and buy things there. And I got pretty envious of that, because it's not quite a good year for Brazil in dollars. Never been very good, but we went through 2.5 to 1. Then we have some corruption scandals. Well, it happens all the time, but this one was more strong. So when that happened, the dollar doubled and made everything worse. So if you try to buy from the US, you will better sell your house or your car or something. So we have an eBay-like marketplace. Everything, all the PLCs, I/O cards are at least double the price. of buying outside in Europe or in the US, even with taxes. And it's really hard to find all the parts you need. Also, we have lots of crazy taxes. If you buy something from outside, you're paying taxes upon the price of the product plus the price of the shipping. So if you're buying a $10 card, you pay a $40 shipping rate and you pay 60% on that. So it ends up being like 3 times more than you're gonna pay anywhere else. And we have a customs guy, which makes everything, takes like forever to come. This is a screenshot when I bought some guitar cables in China. It took only 70 days. I was expecting that, so I bought while I was in Qatar, and it arrived at my home when I was in Brazil. So yeah, it takes a while. So the next thing is using soft PLCs. But the problem is that all soft PLCs, they just accept that you write the tags and then you read the tags and you see that changing. That's not much impressive, there's no much action, you can't actually show what's happening to your client, to your students. And finally, even if you are able to buy all the parts, you still have some knowledge, you have to put code in, you have to configure everything. And if you're a student that you're starting in this career, that might be a little tricky. So computer simulation is present everywhere when you're designing products. Stress testing, predictions, drag simulation, flow simulation. So I thought, how could I make a soft PLC which at the same time would show the actions, show what was going on? So I started to figure out all the moving parts I needed. Been coding in Python for several years. So I started to think, how can I use Python to achieve that? What do I need? So I needed something that executed the logic like a PLC, that have tags and registers like a PLC, and could work with Modbus or Step 7. I wanted something to be like user-friendly, simple, so for less skilled users, and that could show the outcome of your actions. So I started putting things together. For some years, I have known a Python library called Pygame that's used to create 2D games. I said, well, I could make a game that is also a PLC simulator. I just need to put the Modbus tag within the Pygame engine, build some simple shapes, because I'm a tech guy, I'm not a designer or something. And just power, code, and whiskey, and eventually the software will come out. So the result of that was something with cutting-edge HD graphics. Not so much. But yes, it works quite well. What you're seeing there, it's a sample bottle filling factory. Actually, I had this idea, I was reading a paper on the electric engineering portal, and someone posted like, here's a simple bottle filling factory. This is what you need on the PLC. This is the logic. And I said, well, I think I can reproduce that. So decided to use Python because it has several features and it's multi-platform and you don't have to sell your soul and code in Java. You have detached network-based components. So the HMI part and the real-world part, which is also the PLC, you can host it, each one in one different machine. All the traffic is real Modbus traffic. The HMI send Modbus command, and the world view, which is the actual plant and the PLC altogether, interacts with that. So if you sniff traffic in Wireshark, you end up having all these goodies. I had the opportunity to work with Tofino Simulator, and one nice thing that they did that they didn't connect the sensors directly to the PLC. Well, they kind of did, but they made all the sensors and things write to tags, so you could alter these tags, and thus you could alter the outcome. This is what I call the chaos-driven setup. It's not entirely realistic, but it's what fits best for learning and for showing outcomes. So, all the plant's virtual sensors are writing to tags, and the CPU, the virtual CPU, is reading from these tags. So, this allows maximum exploitability, and you can see the outcome inside where the bottle factory goes crazy and starts spilling all over. The scripts use real Modbus. This is a Python library called PyModbus. So what I'm doing here, I'm just flooding the PLC with some tags, each one doing something to achieve the outcome. The good thing about this approach is that you have adjustable level of realism. You can make your sensors connected to the PLC directly, or you can make them detached as it is by default. And within the code, you can decide if you want this directly connected or not. It's not an option, but you can alter the code for that. The several applications I've mapped are for education, for students to use in universities, for challenges or CTF, awareness, and security planning, because you can deploy virtual plant and try to protect it while not taking off the chaos-driven stuff. I'd like to stress it out that virtual plant is not a honeypot. Okay, it's an education tool. You could use it as a honeypot since it has Modbus traffic, but it's not what it's intended for. So here's a little demo. Is this a demo? Well, I think it should be a video. Yes. So, on the left you have HMI with the state of all the tags. So it's reading constantly all the tags. The red dot is the level sensor. It's like an optical level sensor. And the little green dot on the black bar in the conveyor belt is the limit switch to know when the water is in position. So you have full control, you have all the statuses there. And on this terminal window, I'm going to run the scripts. Each one is doing something different. The first one is going to tell the conveyor belt to keep it on, and the limit sensor, it's never there, so it just skips all the bottles. Second one just stops everything. And this one will just tell the level sensor that it's not hit, and it will just overfill everything until you say so. Next, we'll have move and fill, which is one of my favorites, due to the mess it causes, that just says, keep the nozzle open and keep the conveyor belt running. Why not? So you see this is a 2D world, so the liquid is not filling to the front or to the left, it just gets stuck between the bottles, but it's still a pretty fun thing. And that's basically it. Known issues, liquid is not really liquid. It's actually just small pellets, colored blue. Conveyor belt is not actually a conveyor belt. I had to use a property of Pygame, which is surface velocity. So I just set it to 0 to stop, or to something else to move on. And there's something called density when you create objects on Pygame, and I had to make brute force until I found the value I need, because documentation sucks. And most important, I suck at game engines, so this was my first attempt. This, I hope, gets fixed soon. And for the future, what I'm envisioning within Virtual Plant is to use real liquids. Probably we'll have to switch from a game engine, physics engine, to another physics engine. I want to have the concept of vacuum and pressure, so we can have plumbing, heat exchange. I wanted Virtual Plant to be able to talk with other virtual plants that you may have. And the thing that is, I think it will be the thing, is to have pre-built components, like a pump, pipes, reservoir, tank, so you can just, like SimCity, stick them together, select which protocol you want underneath, configure all the tags, and then you just set. I want to do this because I want to lower the bar for people to start working with ICS security. We have lots of automation engineers. It's not something that is hard to sell to a kid. You get a 16-year-old boy or girl and say, do you want to work with robots that paint cars? Well, why not? But you want to make them secure? Not so much. So when you lower the bar, you make this available for more people, and especially in Brazil and other developing countries, this is very important. So in the future, I want to have not only the pre-built components, but I want to do drag and drop. I don't want people have to write code for it to work. I want to support other protocols like S7, TN33, maybe implementation of a Chaos Monkey. Have anybody heard about Chaos Monkey? Chaos Monkey is basically a software which from time to time will start messing up your network or endpoints, and you have to figure out what's happening and solve it. So I want to have embedded in Virtual Plant an option where we can trigger the Chaos Monkey, and every once in a while it starts interrupting your plant and you have to fix it. Even full gamification. What is full gamification? Is to make objectives which the student or anyone has to fulfill. Like there's this attacker, so you have this script running and start attacking your plant, and you have to figure out ways and blue team it. So for the objective, the final experience will be you build your plant components, or you use pre-built ones, you deploy the components, and you try to secure the network within your environment. So I started with this bottle filling factory because I had this article that told me whichever sensors I needed, which inputs I needed. But I worked with a guy in Qatar who used it to work with a nuclear plant. And he got so excited, he said, you must build a nuclear plant in Virtual Plant. I said, yeah, how hard can it be? Turns out it's really hard. So, but yeah, I'm still in that. I have a friend in the US, Mark Ayala. I think Michael also knows him. And he said, I want to build a refinery. Build a refinery in Virtual Plant. I said, yeah, it's on my list. So I've got several requests for features we'll be adding soon. This was done in a moment of despair because I had nothing to do, and that was good. So I think I'm pretty ahead of time. The code is on GitHub. You can just get it. It's really easy to install. All the instructions are there, but you just basically download it, install the prerequisites, and you're up to go. If you want to put some requests. You can use GitHub issues. If you find some bugs, more bugs, you can also report. I'll try to fix it ASAP. And this is pretty much it. We can open for questions.
Thank you. So why don't we start over here? Again, apologize for my back. Have you demonstrated or analyzed the physical effect of attacks on ICS? No? Yes, 50-50 is the opinion of the audience. Do you see a value of doing that?
Yes, I do, because especially in clients, when I go to clients and they want me to show, I usually, before virtual plant, I used the dumb PLC, and I said, here I'm writing to the PLC, I can write whatever I want, I don't have the authentication. And I said, okay, this doesn't prove me much, so now with virtual plant I can say, okay, now I will write to the stacks, and you see all this water spilling out, and there you go. There you have your impact on that.
So it becomes more visible.
Yes, it's more tangible. You can almost touch it and feel the outcome.
So you were mentioning something, what would be your next industrial process that you would like to do? Was that at a refinery?
I think I'm more inclined to the nuclear plant because it will force me to implement heat exchange, pressure, and vacuum. You have a more complex system. Of course, refinery also enables me that, but I don't know. I think just having nuclear plant is more fun.
Fun is a very different word in this environment, okay? But how long does it take you to build this virtual plant?
Well, it took a lot of time. Actually, the learning curve was the biggest problem, because I never had played with game engines or physics simulation engines, and I didn't have whiskey in Qatar, so that's worse.
That must have been slowed down a lot.
Yes, yes.
There's another question. What about doing this in the Half-Life 2 engine?
Yeah, I could go crazy. I could use Unity, Half-Life, Crysis engine, but it was already too much work using a 2D world. It's not off the table, of course. I would love to have it in a 3D world, something like that. But yeah, I just considered using the simplest thing possible so I could just code it and deploy it. But of course, it will be unideal to have a 3D world.
So what we will really need is full-blown ICS chaos monkeys, don't you agree?
Yes, I agree. I think Chaos Monkey is very useful for IT environments, but I would never deploy a Chaos Monkey on production plants, of course. If you have a spare or if you have a test bed, I think that will be great.
An API, how can other programmers help add processes and components? Is that something we think about?
Yes, of course. Currently, everything is monolithic. It's in the same loop of code. But as I create the detachable components, the previewed components, an API could work also. Currently, the API will be the Modbus protocol stack, so you communicate one side to another.
And what about FOSS?
It is FOSS. As I'm Unix freak, I always make everything free and open source. I have some friends who hate me because I build things and they try to monetize, and I said, I don't want to monetize, I want to be free and accessible for everyone. And that's life, everyone follows what it believes.
Yeah, I like that. There was something else I was thinking about that I obviously just slipped my mind right now, but yeah, you are a free researcher.
Yes.
So how do you get funding?
Well, I've not always been a free researcher. I was working in Qatar. I recently got back to Brazil, and I'm enjoying this free time now to work on this researches and projects, and maybe next year, maybe somewhere else.
So Qatar is where you should go when you need some work to be done.
Yeah, and if you want to grow some more white hair, it's also a good place to be.
Okay. Thank you for that. advice. Thank you very much.
Everyone.